Quit your damn job with McCall Taylor.
What is that positive thing in my day? And yes, not every day is perfect. There's days where it's not as easy as others. But I guarantee there's one thing that you can be grateful for that day. I'm a 23-year-old morning show producer. I work over in Tampa Bay, Florida for the Miguel and Holly show, as well as I have my own show on the weekend. And I'm also a public speaker. And one of my biggest dreams in life is to become a motivational speaker to help people actually discover what it is they actually love in life and not just go through life like we get a second chance at the end of it.
Yep.
That's my passions and what I do.
I absolutely love that. So did you grow up like in Tampa, or where did you grow up?
So I was always born and raised Florida. I was
Cool.
born over in Hollywood, Florida, and I moved up to Vero Beach, Florida. And I was raised in Vero until I went over to college, which I went to the University of South Florida, which is in Tampa. And I've been here ever since. I just recently moved just a little further west to St. Petersburg, Florida, which is where the radio station Hot 101.5 is located.
Okay. So growing up, what did you want to do? What were you doing before this?
So I've always had different dreams. One of my biggest things I love to talk about is dreams. I think we all have these visions for where we want to be in life, what we want to do.
Absolutely.
And the closest thing I had to like a realistic vision of a job was when I was in high school and I was getting near senior year. And I've always been involved in sports, athletics. I played football, lacrosse, and all these things. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I kind of realized by like 10th grade, I was like, okay, my dream of going to the NFL, it's gonna stop here because I'm 5'8" and 160. It's not gonna happen. But how could I still turn my love of sports and helping people into a passionate career? And I ended up thinking I want to go into physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That was my senior year. All right, going off to college, going into physical therapy. That's it. It sounded good.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Whenever I said it to people, they're like, oh,
It's very impressive.
physical therapy, you're gonna be so rich. I'm like, yeah, but I also like it, blah 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 blah. Only a couple warnings along the way, but it all changed once I actually got to college.
Yeah. What was your pivotal moment then?
For me, it was actually discovering what gave me true joy.
Mm-hmm.
I discovered I didn't want to do physical therapy when I was going into my freshman year classes over at USF. And I was sitting in these classes, and yes, they were difficult. Your hard sciences, hard maths, and everything like that. But I just wasn't driven to do any of the work. Like I would sit in class, and I would just kind of doze off, like to the point where I'm sitting in the middle of class, like head down. Teacher has to call me out in the middle of class because I'm that disinterested. And then I'd go home and do work and try to do homework, and I just couldn't find what it was to get me to want to do it. I didn't realize that was a problem until it was actually that summer of my freshman year. After that whole entire freshman year going to my sophomore year, I became what you call an orientation leader for the school. So I was the person that was like the preppy one at 6 a.m., getting people pumped up to check out the university, to come. Here's all the great things that are included. And I absolutely loved it. And the real moment that stuck out of my head was the first moment where I got on stage and I spoke to, 500, 600 parents and students. And it was like electricity just went through my fingertips. And I got on stage, and in that moment, I was like, this is what I love to do. I love to interact with people. I love to help people discover their own path. I didn't know exactly how to turn that into something, but that's when I started really allowing myself to see that there's other routes. This route that I'm on right now, it doesn't give me this feeling. How could I do something that actually gives me that feeling of like I was when I first got on stage and I was talking to this mass amount of people?
I love that. So where was the first moment that like you felt that again?
No, that's a good question because, I think a lot of us, we know that feeling. We've had something, we all have something that it's like, I do it and I just love doing it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I discovered that I loved being on stage. I loved having a mic. I loved leading people. I loved talking to small groups of students and helping them discover what it was, what their passion was. So I started switching up my major. By my sophomore year, I was going into like physical science, where it's like maybe I could be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could be anywhere around that realm, not exactly physical therapy, but a little more hands-on and get to speak to others. Well, throughout that whole first semester of that class, I was like, I'm not getting it yet. I'm not getting that feeling.
Yeah.
By the end of that year, I finally mustered up the courage again to switch majors again, where I finally landed in communications. after talking to a couple people, looking over what classes I would take, I got that feeling again where I was like, ooh, wait, these, like, it actually got me interested. I was like, well, what is this class? What is this class? I can't wait to learn about this. And with that, my other wheels started turning where I was like, well, I love speaking to students. I love just having my voice out there to help the people. I knew we had a radio station on campus.
Mm-hmm.
One of my ideas was, I was like, well, there's so many events going on campus that we don't really know what's actually going on because it's like too much information.
Yeah.
What could I do to have one streamline where I could speak on behalf of the students, also give them the information that they need? Why don't I try to do this radio thing? And so the moment that I actually walked in the studio to get a tour of the radio station on campus, it was called Bowles Radio, I got that feeling. I walked in and I was like, this is it. As soon as I looked at the board in the radio station, I saw the microphones, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I never turned back after that. As soon as that happened, I got my own show, and I noticed that I would prep for my 1 hour show. I had a show for 1 hour once a week, and I would do more for that 1 hour once a week than I would for a class that I had 3 days a week for 2 hours. Like, it was just absurd at how much time I was putting toward this versus my classes. And I realized this because that was my passion.
Yeah.
That's what I truly love to do. And so anytime I got to go in the studio, I was like, it just felt right. And eventually a job opportunity came through one of the classes. It was like, hey, this radio station's hiring. If you're interested, just email them. Immediately emailed them and took that step forward.
You know, it's impressive, and honestly, it's amazing to me to see how your passion leads you into these opportunities, you know, because you talk about your classes and how you absolutely were just so disinterested in them. You know, once you know what you're supposed to be doing, it's like your heart just takes you and you just go from there.
Absolutely. And you'll love doing that. You know, it really doesn't, people always have the cliche phrase, and cliches are cliches for a reason because it's true. It's like it's not work anymore. You're doing what your passion is. And, you know, along the route, things get piled on that, you know, don't necessarily enjoy all the time, but you remember that what you're doing, you actually enjoy doing. And especially, you know, for me, in my case, like I wake up at 3 every morning now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, how do you wake up at 3? And for me, it's not a question. I get to wake up at 3 and I get to go do what I love.
Yep.
So it's early, but I'd rather do that than wake up at 7:30 rested, going to something that I don't enjoy.
Yeah, it becomes a motivator for everything that you do. And, you know, you can have the longest days in the world. You're pulling, you know, 15, 16-hour days. And at the end of the day, you're like, I can't wait to go do it again tomorrow. Like,
exactly.
It's unreal. Absolutely unreal. So it sounds like you're very much good with the organization of things and more on like the prepared side of things, especially where it comes to like the prep work that you were doing and that you were talking about with the stuff on campus. Have you always been like a problem solver growing up?
I was a problem solver in a way, but I didn't exactly know the right way. Because if I take myself back to like high school or middle school me, I wasn't that prepared kid. I wasn't the kid that was like, oh, here's all my folders, everything's laid out, I'm doing work ahead of time. It wasn't until I actually was enjoying doing it, you know. When I would prep a show, I didn't even feel, I was like, oh, I want this to be the best thing ever, I got to do this now. Here's how it's going to lay out, here's how it's going to work. And now I know it's because it's actually going towards something that I enjoy doing. And so whenever there's something that I don't necessarily enjoy, I try to find the root of it. That's like, okay, what's the thing that I do enjoy? Let me focus on that while I'm doing this project. Even though the project might be taxing, I know that the end result falls in line with what my passions are in life. It makes it easy for me to be on top, to want to prepare for it more, because without it, it was really hard to want to have an organization in my life if I didn't actually like what I was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's the case with a lot of people though. Like, I feel like that is everything. You know, people talk about how much they sucked in high school, me being one of them. I sucked in high school. Why? Because I didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, but now, like I said earlier, you spend 15, 16 hours a day doing work for the betterment of your job in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly. And I truly believe that there's something that, you know, nowadays we have any which way to make a career out of something that you love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it was really narrowing down, and I had people all along the way of, are you sure you're going to get enough money? are you sure you want to do that? And maybe not even go like the news route. And I was like, no, like, I know, I believe in myself that it's like, I love this so much that I will find a way to make it work.
Yep.
And although I have friends, plenty of friends right now that they're going to jobs that on paper, they look good. Their bank account probably looks better than mine, for sure, actually. But the difference is do you love going to your job every day?
Yeah.
You get satisfaction. And one of my scariest things is thinking about, okay, when I'm 85 years old and I'm reflecting on my life, we work, let's just say averagely, 8 hours a day, 5 times a week. That adds up. You're working a majority of your day. You're taking time away from your family, your friends, other passions in your life to go to a job. And so the question for me is do I just want to take this life and spend all these hours towards something I just don't really care about for a paycheck?
Yep.
You're getting this big paycheck, but you're working majority of the time and you don't even enjoy it. You're not using the paycheck.
Yep.
So these are all things that go through my mind. It's like, what am I willing to give up? Because one of my scariest things is like, we have one chance, and we have opportunities to do that thing that we truly love to do. Don't waste that one chance.
Yeah. I agree 100%. One of my favorite artists, Andy Grammer, actually, he's got a song. It's called 85. And it is one of my favorite lines in it. It says, like, I don't want to be 85 thinking, oh no, I think I missed it. I was chasing money. Because honestly, the fulfillment of your soul is so much more important than the fulfillment of your bank account. I would 100% take your happiness over a dollar sign any day out of the week because it makes up for it. It does.
Yeah.
And your whole family, say you get married, you have kids, you go through all of these motions of doing what society says you need to be doing.
Yes.
It's not helpful to your friends, your family, the people that you're going to be associating with afterwards if you're miserable.
Exactly. I mean, it reflects on everything. If you go to your job and you're miserable, and then you go home to your family, you just spent 8 hours being miserable.
Yeah.
It's not possible to just flip a switch and have everything be okay in your home life. Eventually you're going to get to a point. And I have a lot of personal feelings toward this because I watched my mom go to a job that she did not enjoy. Yeah. She would go for the pure reason of making sure that my brother, my dad, and I all had health insurance. Yeah. That was the reason. And from her sacrifice, I mean, it had an effect where it's like it stressed her out so much on days where it started to take an effect on her health. Yeah. And these are the things we have to weigh out. And it's like, and for me, I love my mom with all my heart. Like, she's my hero. And the one thing I'm going to take away from her is the lesson that she told me of, like, do what makes you happy. Go after that thing. Because for her, for so long, it wasn't that. She did other things, but she would go 8 hours a day doing something that just stressed her out beyond belief. And we really need to realize that stress over a long period of time is going to take away from your life. And is a paycheck worth that? And I think a lot of people's first thought is, well, if I just chase my dreams, my paycheck's just going to cut down. How am I going to pay my bills? And the response back is, one, how do you know that your paycheck's all of a sudden just going to get lower?
Exactly.
Like, if you could find a route that makes it work, maybe initially it's going to take a hit because you just switch something, of course.
Right.
But I guarantee when you switch and raise your standard for yourself and tell yourself, I have to find a way to make this work, you will find a way, no matter what route you have to do. But also on the other side of that, it's like, if you're getting this paycheck at this job, like, you're still going to have bills. But on top of the bills is also your dignity, how good you feel about yourself. Is it worth it? And, I like to always just start when I talk to people. It's like doing things in your day-to-day life that you actually just enjoy doing. Like, start with that, because you're going to realize that these days are starting to slip by. And if you just go to work and you go home and you notice that your whole day is miserable, you're just throwing days out the door. So try finding that one thing every day that you just enjoy doing. Throw that into your day and you'll realize it's like, wait, I like this feeling of I could do this. Yeah. I deserve to be happy, because we all do. Just a lot of us put our happiness in the back seat and allow other people's happiness to be in the front. Your happiness is a priority. This is your life. Absolutely. You are the only person inside of your life that has to continue to live with you forever and ever. Amen. Like, you are the only person. So I will actually want to dive into this a little bit. With your happiness, what do you do to kind of sit down in the morning and kind of address and assess your emotions? Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had to change it up, especially because, now I wake up so early, and
Yeah.
it's very hard to wake up and be like, ooh, chipper as always, because at the
Gotta
end of
feel
the day, it's still
good.
3 a.m. But I really have started putting in practices of one big one that I really stick to is having a journal that I just, one, I just write out some thoughts, but two, I write down what I'm grateful for. Like I
Yeah.
really do. I dive in where it's like at least 3 big things. What am I grateful for? What's going to carry me through the day? That no matter what happens, I remember that at least I have this, or at least this happened. And no, and I also, discovered that if I just move my body a little bit, it obviously affects my mood. So it's like in the morning, I'll wake up and do like small yoga sessions.
Yeah.
I'll chug a glass of water. I'll stretch because I'm literally awakening my body, getting ready to receive the day ahead. We do
Absolutely.
choose how we go about our mornings. We do choose how that affects the rest of our day. And so if we take a little time to discover, all right, what puts me in a good mood, and you implement that into your actual day, you're going to notice that you're having better days.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And
Yeah.
that's something I love telling people. It's like, for me, it started when I just drank a glass of water. As soon as I woke up, and I was like, whoa, it gave me a shot of energy and I already feel better.
Yeah.
What else could I do to feel better?
Yeah. I love that you said that, because there are so many people that get up and they feel miserable about the way that their day is going. And then that automatically sets the mood
Yep.
and the precedent for the entire rest of your day. But then it
Exactly.
becomes a habit. Then it
Yes.
becomes a form of your character building personality. It becomes a personality trait, is this negative persona. And I think there are more people that need to know that there is a way to be able to rewire your brain and change the way that your personality is, just by doing those simple things of writing down the things that you're grateful for, of pointing out the things that you're happy to be doing throughout the day, and then going about that. Because as soon as you start noticing the positive, the more positive becomes aware to you. It's what is it? The law of attraction,
Exactly.
the more things you
Absolutely.
focus on, the more happy you become, because this is now becoming a part of your personality. And I wish and I hope and I pray that more people do this.
Absolutely. And it goes down, the people use language every day where it's like, I hate
Absolutely.
mornings. I
Yep.
hate Mondays. You using this language is just affirming that feeling.
Yeah.
So how do you expect to ever have a good Monday if all you've ever said is I hate Mondays?
Yes.
Because that's all you're going to focus on. It's your reticular activated system. Like if I focus that Mondays are horrible, I'm always going to find a reason. Like I'm going to spill a little bit of coffee on my pants, and that's just going to ruin my days because Mondays just bring bad energy. It's like,
Yep.
no, you saying that and affirming it is bringing the bad energy. Change you. And people have asked me very recently, it's like, why are you so positive and uplifting, especially so early in the morning, and especially on Monday? It's like, well, I look forward to the week.
Yeah.
I'm excited now
Yeah.
that I have all these new opportunities this week that I could accomplish. It's very easy to be like, oh man, Monday, I'm going to be tired from the weekend. I'm not going to have everything lined up for the week. But instead, I turn my focus on, what do I have? What are those
Yeah.
things that I'm grateful for? It's a new week to discover new things. The past is gone. All I can focus on is right now, moving forward.
And
And
it's
too many
so,
of us get rid of that.
it is so, so, so important, because your words carry so much weight in your life.
Yes, they
Your
do.
your words are so important. Even at one point in your life, you say things like, "Oh man, I'm fat," or "I'm ugly," or something like that. Those stay in your brain because, again, you are the most important person, and your opinion is the most important opinion that is involved in your life, because
Yeah.
nobody else matters. Nobody else has to live that life. So with your positive outlook on things, is this something that you have had to develop as the years have gone on, or is this something that you've always felt like you have been inclined to?
I've always been a very upbeat, positive person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of in my personality. But what I've really learned is that it's something that always needs to be in check.
Yeah.
It's not every day is sunshine and rainbows for me. There's a numerous amount of days where it's like, it's very easy, where it's like, I literally feel like I have the two angels. I got the good one and the bad one. And
Yeah.
one's saying, ooh, you feel a little tired today. This didn't go the right way. You have a lot of work. It's stressing you out. And the other one's like, hey, you take that one step in the right direction, your whole entire life could change. But
Yeah.
you just have to keep moving forward. And it is every day. It's a constant battle between answering to which angel. And so even for me, as somebody that has a personality to be upbeat and have a lot of energy, I still keep myself in check, because let's be honest, especially in the past couple of months, there's been a lot of stuff that's very negative, and it's very easy for us to just attach to it.
Yep.
It takes that little extra work to be like, you know what? I know this is going on right now, but if I let myself focus all on that, I'm going to ruin my own day.
Yeah.
Let me find the one thing, again, that's going to carry me through. What is that positive thing in my day? And yes, not every day is perfect. There's days where it's not as easy as others. But I
Yeah.
guarantee there's one thing that you can be grateful for that day. Just one. Let that be a little bit of sunshine. I'm not telling you to walk around smiling at everybody, but I'm telling
No.
you, just let yourself know that it's like, you know what? I do at least have this.
Yep.
And that's what I keep in check.
And it doesn't make you a weaker person to be looking for the positive things. It doesn't make people
No.
think that you're a worse person because of it. One of my favorite things that I have come across recently, it was actually a video, and it was, you can have an easy day but a hard life, or you can have a harder day and an easy life,
Yeah.
basically because you have to make those decisions, because it's easy to sit back. It's easy to just let your brain do whatever your brain wants to do, but then it leads in the long run to a more
Mm-hmm.
difficult and more less fulfilling life. Or you can have
Absolutely.
a harder, more fulfilling day and make those conscious decisions every single moment of the day of, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to make these decisions, and it's going to make for a better life in the long run. You know,
Exactly.
socially, personally, mentally, it means so much to make those conscious decisions every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's in little things, you know,
Yeah.
I've had to learn to catch myself. And a big one has just been on like social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big time negative force, especially if I go through my feed and I'm like, okay, there's so many things happening. People are just going off on each other. And I had to learn that it's like, especially like on Facebook, I'd get on Facebook and I'd be like, I just feel
Awful. Yep.
And so I deleted it off my phone. I
I
said,
did too.
bye. Like I'll have, because for work, I still need it. So I'll have it on my browser. So I check it in the morning, do business stuff on it. But
Yep.
I won't allow myself now to have that on my phone because
Yeah.
I know it didn't give me any positive feelings. It only left me feeling yucky.
Yep.
Why am I going to do that to myself?
Yep.
So it's taking an evaluation of your surroundings. And like, that was one for me also. You know, there's definitely days where it's harder to pump myself up. And so like literally on my mirror in my bathroom, I have just a ton of affirmations. Like,
I love
you
that.
are good enough. You belong at the table. Your words matter. You have what it takes. Because on those days where it doesn't feel like it, I have those reminders there to be like, you know what? I do.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
I do have what it takes. And if that's what it takes for you to set yourself up to have a better day, do it, you know, because at the end of the day, this is your life. If other people look at you like it's odd, weird, I don't know why they would think that, or it's weird,
Right.
or it's taboo, like it doesn't matter what they think because this isn't their life. This is yours. You want to set
Exactly.
yourself up for the best possible life you could have. And these are little steps that you could do.
Exactly. So with that being said, what are some of the steps that you've had to take to cut people out or put up a shield basically to be able to make it so that their opinions don't matter and they don't attach to you and they just bounce off?
Well, it definitely depends on the situation. Like, as I've had friends in my life that you will have friends that are just kind of like negative
Mm-hmm.
balls of energy,
Yep.
where they'll always find a reason to complain. And to be honest, it's just, I slowly just stopped spending time with these people.
Yeah.
And depending on the person, you know, I also would say things out loud that it's like, all right, you know I hear your negative, you know, thoughts right now, but let me just correct it. At least we have this.
Yes.
You have this, and reminding people that it's not all bad. But one of the hard ones was, again, cutting people out of my life of being like, okay, if all you bring is negative, I'm going to evaluate our relationship. Like, what are you bringing that's going to satisfy and help my own life?
Yeah.
And if it's just bad juju all the time, well, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that right now.
No.
Because at the end of the day, again, like, this is my life. I need to make sure that I'm helping myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes down to putting your happiness first. You know, are you hanging out with someone just because it helps their happiness?
Yeah.
And is your happiness in the back seat? Well, you're just wasting that time, whereas you actually have you know, put your happiness just on the same playing field and realize that if it's not doing good for your soul, it has to go.
Yeah.
It's our truth of it.
It is. It really is. One of my favorite things, you talk about raising vibrations, you know, you talk about having a raised vibration because you want to vibrate on a higher field. And
Yeah.
sometimes you do have those people that are on that lower vibration, and you can either lower your vibration
Mm-hmm.
or you can offer to give some of that higher vibration to them so they can know better and
Yeah.
raise their vibration as well. Because honestly, the goal in life is to have everybody succeed. The
Of
goal in
course.
life is to have everybody feeling fulfilled and living their best life and
Yeah.
doing all of the good things. but there are some people that just don't know how.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a great reason why it's like we have conversations like this, because for a long time, it took me to figure out, like, how do I get to that level when I'm not feeling my best?
Yeah.
And it's exactly those things where it's like, okay, understanding and teaching others. It's like, okay, here's my negative thought. I'm talking about it. I'm speaking it out loud. It's kind of controlling my life right now. That's when it's like, for me, I've learned, okay, let me pull out of my bag of tricks. Here's my notebook. What am I grateful for? What do I
Yes.
have in this moment? Because you control what you want to think about. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just spilled an entire cup of coffee all over my papers, you know, but at the same time, like, it's not the end of the world.
No.
Like, nobody died over this. I still have a job. I still have these things in my life. I'm
Yeah.
not going to let this dictate my energy going forward. I'm going to clean it up. Yeah, it's messy. So is life. Clean it up and you keep moving. If
Yep.
you just dread on that, you're allowing yourself to ruin your day. So at the end of the day, where you're like, oh, it was so bad. Was it bad?
Was
Or did
it?
you just spill a cup of coffee?
Yep.
And when you
Th-
think about it like that, you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
It really wasn't. No. And they always say, did you have a bad day, or did you have a bad 5 minutes that you milked out for the
Yes, I love
entire
that.
day?
Yes.
It's so important to identify that throughout the day. At the end of the day, do you sit down? Do you gratitude journal?
I do. I'll go back in my journal. I'll rethink about my thoughts, and something for me personally, like I start running and I work out a lot, where that's my time to kind of just allow my brain to just relax, maybe think through some things in the day, but just kind of get away again. Because I feel like now we just are grabbed in so many different directions, whether it's the TV, it's your laptop, it's your phone, all dinging all over. And those things, you get the wrong text message and you're like, oh, drop.
Yep.
So I allow myself to again, at the end of the day, let me just evaluate how was today. It was okay, but I had this, this, and this. These are all good things. Let me focus on that. And I find, again, it's the same thing with law of attraction, because it is, I'm going to focus on those good things because it's only going to make me find the good things easier.
Yes.
If you just focus on the bad, you're going to find the bad easier. It's just how it works. If you want a red car, you're going to see a ton of red cars. That's what your brain's thinking about.
Yep.
So allow yourself, what are those things that are really good in your life? And you'll slowly find yourself having a little more. And yes, not all the time is it your picture perfect life right away. I've had to learn that. And it sometimes drops me down a little bit because I'm like, I want my own show on TV. I want to be traveling the world speaking. It's not just going to snap my fingers and happen. But when I realize I have these conversations with you, I get to go into a morning show in the morning and actually talk on the radio.
Yeah.
I'm taking those steps. You have to remind yourself that you are making progress. We thrive off of progress. I learned that from Tony Robbins, where it's, you have to remind yourself of those little steps you're taking because they matter. You don't get in a mile in one little leap. You have to take a lot of little steps and then you get there. And you have to remind yourself you're doing the same exact thing right now with your life, especially if you're chasing your dream and you're doing the thing that you love. Your business that you want to create is not just going to be booming day one, but maybe you have a great logo now.
Yeah.
Maybe you finally have your mission statement. Maybe you finally have a partner to go into business with. All these steps matter, and you have to pat yourself on the back for each and every one of them. Celebrate your success.
Absolutely. Who are some of the people that you surround yourself with to help you stay on more of a higher field, whether it be through podcast, through book, whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Do you have those people?
Oh, I mean, in the big name world, yes, absolutely. I mean, I've watched people like Tony Robbins for years. I watched Les Brown, who is, right now almost like a mentor. I'm doing a class with him online to just learn how to get into that field of motivational speaking. I've read Kevin Hart's book. I've discovered his story. I've seen all these people. Somebody that I grew up listening on radio is Bobby Bones.
Yeah.
Where it's I know his story and understanding, like, how do they operate? And it's kind of the same way these conversations go, where it's like we all have this field where it's like, okay, I could either go to the left, which is chasing all my dreams, going at it no matter what, or I just kind of go about life as if I have a second chance at the end of it. And like every day I'll watch a video on one of Tony Robbins or Les Brown's speeches. I'll read a book from somebody that's doing something in the realm of what I want to do one day. I constantly put that in my head because that's what gets me up. I'm like, oh, like it is possible. It absolutely is possible. Just keep going. Because if you stop, you ruin the chance.
Yep.
But if you just keep going, at least you give yourself a chance to make it happen.
Yeah. How important have you found it to keep your head down and do your thing rather than look up and admire what everybody else is doing?
Man, it's a battle
Yeah.
constantly. And I'm not even going to sit here and lie like I don't, because I've seen plenty of my peers around me get new spots, new
Oh,
positions.
yeah.
And, it's always the two thoughts. And I think it's completely okay, because I think it's just part of our human nature. Like the first thought is like, you're kind of envious, like, oh man,
Yep.
like that should be me, or how did they get it? And I don't have that step again. And then the second thought is, man, good for them.
Yep.
If they could do it, I could do it. I'm proud of them for actually taking the step and going for it, because I would want someone to celebrate my success with me. And so I
Absolutely.
know that it's like, if I see one of my friends getting a better position, and I'm like, yo, you worked for that and you earned it. All it does is just reaffirm exactly what I believe. If
Yep.
you just keep working for it and you truly love it, you will make it happen. And so you just got to watch and just take your own pace. Everyone has a different pace. It's like right now, maybe it's not your time.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to sit back, learn a little bit more, and then you'll get there. You kind of just have to evaluate it on your own personal level. And that's something I've had to do for myself.
Yeah. And it comes back to, again, acknowledging and honoring the positive rather than going back to the negative and the more selfish side of things,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the two angels on your shoulder. One's going to be like, oh, how did they get there? And you're not there. And the other one's like, yo, pump the brakes. Like,
You'll
you're
get
doing
there.
great. Like, what
Yep.
you're doing right now is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. The moment that you just give up and you worry about what other people are doing, you're only taking yourself out of the game.
Yep.
Everyone else isn't affected. You're the only one affected.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Scotty, where can people find you across social media?
So all my social media platforms are at Scott Tavlin. So SCOTTTAVLIN, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of that.
Awesome. And then what is just one final piece of advice that you would give to anybody who wants to go out and go chase their dreams?
I would say this: when you're 85 and you're looking up and you're wondering and thinking back on your entire life, what do you want to think back on? Too many of us get caught up right now in the moment of fear. We stop ourselves from taking that step forward because we're scared, one, it's not going to work. We're scared on how it looks to other people around you. And then the one thing you have to realize is, at the end of this is your life. The people that are judging you, they're not going to matter.
Yep.
The one thing that's going to matter is, did you live the best life that you could possibly live? And the one thing that gets me up every morning is, do I want to spend all these hours that are taken from my own life and put them into something that I don't enjoy or something that I do enjoy? The truth is that you have an opportunity to do something that you truly love to do. It's not always going to be the easiest route, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the route that's worth it.
Yeah.
Trust yourself, believe in yourself first, whatever that passion or dream is, and just take that step forward, because you're going to realize every step along the way, you're going to get a little better and that dream's going to come a little closer. It is possible.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want to add to this?
No, I think this podcast, this video is fantastic. And I really hope, if anything, just one person takes these thoughts, starts writing them down, really think about what that passion is that you have, and just take that step forward. Make the step, make it happen.
Absolutely. Awesome. Scott, this has been literally a dream come true. So thank you.
It's been an honor.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day. And this has been Quit Your Damn Job.
I don't know how many people think about it or how many break it down this way, but you do. It's hard not to think about your life. I say it's, how many summers do I have left?